Hey, everybody. Glad to be here at the Wacom event. I understand, it's a around the world event. So we're here in America, where we're based. And so we're the tail end, but excited to be here for the Wacom Connected Inc. And just for geographic reference, we're in Portland, Oregon. So let's get started. I'm with CTL. We're an OEM that specializes in computer products, specifically Chromebooks and Chrome endpoint devices based in Portland, Oregon. I'm just going to talk a little bit today about our company, what we do, and how we've worked with Wacom to bring interesting and creative solutions to the market. And that's about it. So thanks for having me, and we'll get to it. So just quickly about CTL. We're based here in Oregon, or in the Portland metro area, in a place called Beaverton. You might know that. You might not know. You might know the name because Nike's headquartered here, and they're our neighbor. We're also located in Europe, where we sell and distribute, and then we have an office that works in Southeast Asia and Singapore. So just what CTL does in general, our specialty is working with school districts and enterprise to help them evangelize and move their connected computing devices to the cloud, specifically using Chrome OS. If you don't know Chrome OS or not familiar with it, Chrome OS is a cloud-based operating system that was designed and developed by Google. It's easy to manage, it's easy to deploy, it's easy to service. And schools have really taken to Chrome OS because of the management features, and that being mainly they can manage the devices from the cloud. So it's easy to scale and develop and execute large projects, and it's easy to control the devices in school districts. That being said, too, they've become quite popular in enterprise because those same principles that have made them so successful in the school districts are now being present in enterprise. So we're seeing massive adoption there. Some of the big projects we've dealt with in the past here in America, if you're familiar with Verizon, we partnered with Verizon and did a big project where we deployed 44,000 devices for school districts using LTE connection. So it's one-to-one learning, but always connected. Did a big project with the state of Maine for all their kids using devices. And then most recently, and I'm going to talk about this later, here in our local area, we did a project with Portland Public Schools where they did a one-to-one for every kid in the Portland metro area, including a Wacom pen. We have a lot of other projects in our history, and we continue to share and grow our market share around the world. The area where we've seen the most growth recently is the enterprise, where corporate customers are now using Chrome OS in their conference rooms for endpoints, for digital signs. So that's been exciting as Chrome evangelizes into this new market. We've been around a long time. CTL started in 1989. Through those years, we've had lots of reinventions, from the PC to the display. And then in 2012 and 13, we started working with Google to help launch these connected devices. And that's been CTL's main point of business for some time. But, lots of accolades in the market, lots of great partners like Intel and Google, Logitech, and of course, our friends today, Wacom. What's different about CTL? We're a relatively small company compared to our peers. And our peers are people like, HP, Lenovo, Dell, ASUS, and other Taiwan guys like Acer. And those are our, frenemies or people that we go after in the market. What's really different about CTL is our ability to customize the solution and the experience for our customers. And really, we're able to offer an end-to-end solution from the beginning stage, meaning the hardware, but also the services and solutions that come in and around the device, creating a cohesive experience for our customers. That's what's really different. A lot of those big brands can't do that. And that's what makes CTL successful in the market. Because of our size and because of our speciality in Chrome, we're very flexible, we're easy to work with, and we really collaborate and partner with our customers to, provide a competitive end user solution. Just quick on our products, full range, IT related, but mostly Chrome related. You can see there we have, a standard Chromebook. This is designed specifically for education, very rugged device. It can withstand drops and spills and all those things. And we were able to add the Wacom EMR pin. We'll talk about how successful that's been later. What you see there on the right is our Chromebox, which is an endpoint computing device. And these are used for things like digital sign, for things customer communication for call centers and contact centers, and then as a standard desktop too. Most recently, we just partnered with a company called Parallels that allows us to run Windows on this box. So now, even though you could be Chrome OS, you can run those legacy Windows apps now on these devices, which we're pretty excited about. We also make computer monitors that go and attach in and around to these products. They end up in digital sign and displays and point of sale and things like that. But again, it's part of that one-to-one full cycle story that CTL tells. Here's a very detailed slide on all the products. Wacom warned me not to get into too much detail on this, but you can see that we have a pretty full solution from beginning to end to offer our customers. We work very, very closely with Intel and Google and all the industry players, including Wacom, to make sure we're addressing the needs of the marketplace. And we've been very, very successful with the Wacom EMR pin, and we'll talk a little bit later about our experience. This is our Chromebox lineup, which talked about a bit. And again, this is an endpoint solution, really targeted towards all the industry devices that are at the edge of the computing. We use Chrome OS because it's easy to manage, it's easy to deploy, and customers have a very, very reliable experience with Chrome OS. Displays, I think that's pretty explanatory. One of the things we've done in the past couple of years, I think is pretty interesting as a company. We're all here recording from home and doing all the work from home due to the pandemic. But the boom in work from home and conference room stuff started a long time ago. But Google got into it, and they developed a solution called Google Meet, or previously known as Hangouts. CTL has been building boxes for this market specifically, where we take that endpoint computing device you saw earlier, and we configure it with a special operating system that runs conference room equipment only, and it basically controls all of these devices you see here in the room. It's cloud connected, it's easy to manage, and has all those same principles and things we just talked about earlier, but it controls the conference room. And the players in this are, of course, Zoom, which I'm using right now with Wacom, Microsoft Teams, and of course, Google Meet, where we make product for. And our partner around the world is Logitech. So you can find CTL in all kinds of major accounts like Twitter and Roche, Spotify, Airbus, PwC, etc. But we go in there with hand to hand with Logitech to help create these solutions around the globe. One of the things about Google, first, they're an amazing company and very innovative, but the product they make is incredible for cloud operations. Many of us use Gmail already, and there's over 6 million paying customers for Google corporate products today using Gmail and G Suite. So that's the fastest growing market. The demographics are people that are generally younger and grew up on it, maybe in their own educational experience, but that's what we see. It's kind of the next generation of users, and they're all using Google Cloud stuff. So you've got products from the Google Management for Education, Google Workspace, which includes Gmail and those things, and Google Drive and Google Slides, etc. And then you can build all around these kind of software suites with different devices that work on Google, whether it be security or managing hotspot connectivity or video creation. It all works on Google, and it works very well and seamlessly. Some of the things and projects we've done that we've been really proud of, just a few of those are highlighted there. I mentioned the Verizon project. One of the projects that we really were excited about, this is a COVID response, was the Smart City PDX project. And that was in the early stages of COVID. Here in Portland, Oregon, where we're based, we certainly reached out to entities to see where we could help as a company. And one of the things that came out of it was the city of Portland needed to get computing in the hands of some citizens that didn't have computers at home. They were digitally challenged, didn't have home internet, etc. And so we partnered with the city to do the Smart City PDX to bring this technology in the hands of these folks. So I think in that project, we did maybe 5,000 or 6,000 units for community members, many of them with LTE connectivity, so they could get access to email, get access to the tools they need to work and do what they needed to do. Many of them were challenged from a home point of view, that they might not even had a permanent residence. So the city really took care of our citizens and made sure they were able to adapt when a lot of the work went home the last year and a half. So that's one of our proud moments where we really leaned in and helped out the community, and the community really responded favorably. A lot of these other things are part of our, education initiatives, and we've been really excited about a lot of the technology and projects we've done in the United States and around the globe. So I wanted to talk really about where we use the Wacom technology, and that's for a project we did with Portland Public Schools. And I'm just going to give just a quick background on what the need was there, how we responded, and of course how we used Wacom technology there. So Portland Public Schools is a Oregon-based organization like CTL. They have around 50-something thousand kids. I want to say that 80 to 90 schools around the Portland metro area. Prior to this, they were not one-to-one. They had classroom carts, and kids had to check out computers. None of them went home. And certainly when COVID hit, Portland Public Schools had a lot of challenges because they weren't ready for one-to-one, and they had to quickly adapt and address that marketplace. They were able to secure devices back then, and they were able to make it work. And like many schools, it was a struggle. CTL leaned in when we could, but they realized that they needed to do something different. They needed to go out and have a strategic plan for the technology in the district and make a big investment. They went to the voters and people that are in the district, and they asked for not only investment in technology, but investment in equipment and buildings and things like that. So they went to the voters and passed a bond, and one of the component was computing technology. So CTL was awarded the project, and really the challenge was build, procure, secure 35,000 units for the one-to-one initiative. Schools were to be issued, kids were to be issued devices that would include take-home, and they would move to a full e-learning suite of software. The other thing Portland Public Schools wanted, given the fact they were resource constraint, was to have the vendor do a lot of the lifting in terms of delivery, service, and support, and augment their IT service. So CTL came with a proposal to do that, especially because we're here in Oregon. It's easier for us to do. So we've been deploying this project now in the last 3 or 4 months, and we delivered to each school almost every day, actually, to make sure they're getting what they need. We're about 90% done with the rollout as of today, but it's a little bit different. Most schools would not have them, order them and be able to deliver them on site to the schools on the day of deployment. So we're able to do that. CTL sent crews to each school to help them deploy, to hand them out to the kids to make sure everything went well, went smoothly. So we did that. And then, of course, on the software and service side, we go to the schools throughout the week and make sure the machines are up and running, pick them up, service them, etc. And that's part of the comprehensive warranty services that are part of this project. Again, we're about 90% done. So we have a lot of kids using these devices out in the market. The final leg was, what was the device all about? Portland Public Schools wanted to make a big investment in the technology. They wanted to make sure they lasted, and they wanted to use alternative input methods, including the Wacom EMR pin. So CTL has a device. It's quite loaded from a spec point of view compared to traditional Chromebooks. It has a quad-core processor, which really is optimized for video conferencing. And that was a big key thing they wanted to have, especially if they had to go home again. They also wanted a lot more storage than traditional Chromebooks to make sure the device would be future-proof, and then a lot more memory to make sure they could accommodate Zoom meetings and Google Meet meetings, etc. So anyway, they received that device from CTL. The final thing is they received Wacom EMR pens, and that was to be part of their interactivity suite. They're now in the process of training and figuring out how they're going to incorporate that into their learning. And that's something that Wacom has leaned in and helped and has offered to train and support PPS as they go on that journey to effectively use pens for teaching and learning. What we really love about the Wacom pen and the EMR solution is that one, it's affordable. The pens are quite inexpensive because they don't have a battery, and that's great for education, and they're easy to secure and easy to support. The other things that really make it different than a traditional touchscreen compute device is the pen is super accurate. Those of you that have used EMR know that the Wacom EMR pen is just highly accurate. You also get away from that palm, has 100% palm rejection too. So you don't have the confusing input signals between your hand and the pen. It also, because it uses a fine tip pen, it's extremely accurate, and the customers have the best experience by using the pen. And as I mentioned, it's very, very affordable. And in schools, a lot of times they lose devices and have to replace things, and the Wacom pen is, because it contains no batteries, quite affordable. So to summarize the project, really, we delivered 35,000 devices. We chose Wacom for a reason. We used EMR for a reason. All those things are appreciated and used by our customer. CTL went out and made sure they had the necessary support to deliver these to the students in a very, very challenged COVID environment with masks and shutdowns, et cetera. Also, we leaned in with the comprehensive solutions and the back-end support that they really need to make sure these things stay up and running. And then finally, Wacom has intended to and plans to assist them as they go on their journey to incorporate the pen into their classroom learning. So I think I'm I've got like 1 minute left, but to summarize, Wacom has been really a great partner, and they've been there every step of the way as we've moved to incorporate EMR into our technology. We've been really happy with their support. We've been happy with the product. And we've really been happy with Wacom as a company, and CTL continues to look at new ways to partner with Wacom. So thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on another successful event, and I'll hand off the torch to the next person around the world. Thank you so much.